Well, apparently, I know how to piss a few people off. I am just doing what I'm here to do, and I cannot help how it triggers you. This is something I need to say right out of the gate. If I say something that pushes a button in you, it's not about me. You found a trigger that is hot in you. And so, right out of the gate, I want to tell you that's the problem. I'm not the problem. I weigh 115 pounds, okay? I realize because I am putting these videos out as I'm supposed to. I'm told when to do videos. I follow my guidance to the T. This human, and I'm going to explain it in this video, I don't make choices. I don't think, what do I want to do today? And I go do it. I have stopped doing that. Some people really reacted to my last video, and these are people who were acquaintances from my old existence, which everybody who knows me now, that part of me has been dead for years. But I know they can't know because they saw me dropping off my kid. We hung out, we had mom functions, and all of a sudden I'm this person that's like, who the hell do you think you are saying this stuff? Well, I want to share how I got here to those people who were my friends, my acquaintances, and for everybody else, because I was just a mom going to functions, going to soccer games, playing soccer until the fall of 2016, when a book was delivered to me that just cracked me open. And literally the fall of 2016, one of my listeners at the radio station, I met with this woman to deliver her prize package. And there was something about her that was like fascinating. And I was like, what is it about her? I wanted to stalk her Facebook page. There was something woo-woo. And I did not know what woo-woo meant. The word spirituality had not entered my wheelhouse in 2016. So I met this woman. She recommended a book. The first book, the gateway drug for me, was Money and the Law of Attraction. I listened to the book as I commuted, and it was like a light switch went off. This is what we're looking for. We're looking for that aha, that, oh my God, that, oh no, that I knew something was bigger than me. The word knowing is a word that it's the only word in your vocabulary that you can use when you come here. It's a knowing of stuff, and you just can't explain it any other way. So I got my first book in the fall of 2016, which cracked open Pandora's box. I listened to hundreds of hours of books, okay? Long story, I'm not going to go into all of it right now. My book covers all of it. And then in the fall of 2017, I challenged the law of attraction by asking the universe to deliver something that would prohibit me from going to work. Boy, did it deliver. I had a tailbone and I very specifically said, don't break any bones. You always do what you say. I had a tailbone infection in my spine, in my tailbone. I was debilitated. I was out of commission for months. For 45 days, I lived in a recliner. They had surgery before they even figured it out. I lived in a recliner. This time in my life, I had already discovered spirituality. And then in the fall, no, yes, it was the fall, October of 2017, the 18th. Oh my God, the 18th. Oh my God, there's so many connections to my dates now. October 18th of 2017, my tailbone infection started. And that started my inward travels. This was when I sat in a recliner and I just observed. I listened. I paid attention. I was aware. And it was the start of my going inside and feeling a peace and a settling. I just remember my husband and daughter bickering, and I would just sit there like, in this space to where I had nothing else that I could do but And I remember I had to find a place to let it calm me down and not let that affect me, because it couldn't. There's nothing I could do about it. And so I went silent. And that is what started this journey for me. I started the silence then. And then when my daughter went to college the following year and I saw my house was empty and my guidance said, move to Olympia. It didn't say leave your husband. It just said move to Olympia, move closer to work. And I do what I'm guided. And I did. And then I went further and deeper into silence. So I shut up and I disconnected from humans. I left a huge group of friends and acquaintances that I was like the event planner extraordinaire, planned New Year's Eve parties, Christmas parties and events and camping trips and cruises and this stuff. I was the event planner. And then I stopped. I walked away. And that is when the magic started happening. I didn't walk away. I was pulled. There were things, there were obstacles placed before me that said, get out of here. You're off track. But I would stay and I would fight for my limitations until I left. So I got on this track, and the way it came to me in my vision, which, yes, I get visions now. I live silently. I live on the ocean where I've had no human contact. Since I've lived here on March 17th, I don't have a close friend. I have acquaintances, but nobody knows me. I'm an anomaly here. I'm a quiet thing that people see and they're curious, but they know not to come near because they can't understand me. And that's why I'm here. That's why I've been guided here. Since I've been guided here, I have met God directly. On the beach, God dictated a chapter to my book. That book, no, it's not out yet, but the woman who proofread my book, and she had questions like, you've got to make sense of this for people. I didn't know how to make sense of it, but God did. He came through me in an entire chapter that's going to be in my book that answered every question my proofreader read. God comes through me, which is weird because anybody who knows me, childhood friends, I never went to church. We didn't have a church in our life. We had 5 dads and no religion. We had a Bible. We never touched it. We knew nothing about God or a life of religion. Not a thing. Never exposed to it. And so I turn inside, I go quiet, and then I started getting stuff that comes through me, not through a translation from somebody else at the pulpit. It came through me. Because anybody who goes to church and understands this knows it comes from within. We are all a spark of God. And you do not have to go to church to find God, because I never went to church. I found God without looking for God, by following my arrow, by following my gut instincts that tell me always what to do. And something that also came through me, so much is coming through me. When I started listening to guidance, and only guidance, saying, all right, I'm going to push everything else aside because it all makes no sense. It's like when we do the things that in our head, we think, I need to do this, I need to make my to-do list. We are pushing off everything that we need to allow to happen. We make to-do lists, which delays our game constantly. And I just felt everything that I kept doing, all the doingness that I kept doing was not getting me anywhere. So I surrendered. I completely surrendered. I went to Sedona. I mean, I've been in surrender for a few years now, to where I, Carrie Palmer, I do not come up with things to do. I do not make lists. I do not think about what I'm going to do next. Ever. Ever. It always comes to me, and that's the direction I go. And I've come to realize that when I started doing this, when you start only following guidance, you're not wasting any time anymore doing stuff you don't need to do, eating stuff you don't need to eat, watching stuff you don't waste your time anymore. You do the stuff that is on your path, because it is the only thing in front of you. It's that one foot in front of the other. And it's not my ego, my brain saying, but I want to do this. I want to do this. Because if we did the stuff we want to do all the time, we're serving ourselves, we're filling those needs, but we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. Believe me, I have been here full time since St. Patrick's Day. I have thought, like, I want to go somewhere warm. It's not cold. It's not warm here. It's not bikini weather. And it's like, I think I'm going to Jamaica. I think all this stuff is happening and nothing happens. And I know it's not supposed to. Right now, it is turning into winter out there. It is cold. And the part of me I want to go to Jamaica. I want to go to Sedona. And I'm looking for a minute. I look at this stuff and I know it's just for fun, because I know I can't plan it. Because if I'm supposed to go to Jamaica or Sedona, it's going to show up and I go. And it always does without fail. Everything I'm supposed to do, Mount Shasta, watch those videos. It comes to me. I don't think about it. That was a road trip. I got in my car to get out of here. And it took me to Mount Shasta, which is 5 hours away, which I did not know was the root chakra of our planet. This beautiful stuff is delivered to us if we shut up and we just allow it to come. This is your biggest problem, people. Ha! You know that's your biggest problem. Mine, you know what I use that for? Dictation. That's how I write. Google Docs, I use it for a camera, and I use it for music. My phone is not for information. Do I need to know everything going on in the world? Why would I need to know that? Why do you think you people are so angry and upset because you see all this stuff? Because it's information that's right here, and you're not letting yourself get away from it. You choose this. You choose that. You choose to know everything. I'm totally digressing. So I had a lot of visions as I was trying to get out of bed. I had a vision of Space Mountain at Disneyland. If you haven't been on it, which you have, it's a big thing you can't see. You can't see what's going on inside. You get in the car and you go in and it's dark and it's zippy and you're all over, but it's pitch black. You can't see anything. I was shown this vision that our life is Space Mountain. We stand in line, get your fast pass, you get in that car, that is your date of birth. That is the beginning of your life. That car takes off the entire time it's doing all this in there. That is your dash. That car pulls back in. That's your date of death. That's what you got. That's your life here. What happens while it's in there? We do have free will, but we've already planned it. We already know what we want to do. And we have immediately when we're born, the veil closes. We forget that we planned on coming here to do this very specific experience, to have these things happen to us, to have these tragedies happen. We forget, because if we knew, you know, the ending of the movie, what's the point, right? If you knew the ending, why bother? So we come in and we forget. However, you do know many kids still remember. God, I wish I could run into a kid now that has an invisible friend. I'd be like, can I talk to you? I want to talk to your friend. There'd be so many questions I would have. Many of us remember. I didn't remember, but I was clairvoyant when I was a child. And that stuff just starts going away when we start becoming an adult and a human, because it gets dark and we start getting all these things pounded on us. But we come here from home, which is not here, the other side of the veil, the stuff you can't see. That is home. That's where we come from. We are all a spark of God. And I know this because God comes through and God shares everything. And I know it as a knowing, not because somebody told me in church. I know things because God comes directly through me now. I don't need it translated. We come here to forget and to live out these experiences that we plan for ourselves, these lessons that we set ourselves up for. And I set myself up. My God, the doozies I set myself up for in this lifetime. But the reason I'm here and talking to you is because I went into each lesson. I experienced the pain, the tragedy, the complete hell and chaos, everything that I had to experience. Then I popped out and I went on to the next one. And then I went into it and I experienced, I got tangled. And when we're in our situations, we cannot see the forest for the trees because we're in the middle of them. But then I'd pop out and I'd make my way to my next situation. Door closes, door opens. It's like constant. But the problem is with most of us humans, we get into situations and we get into it and we think this is my situation till death us do part. And you live it. You don't have to, but you choose it. We don't have to. We didn't plan on it. We plan on being fluid. We plan on going up, getting through, skyrocketing, learning our lessons, taking the chances, pushing out of our comfort zone, doing the crazy that nobody else would do because everybody else. We planned on following our arrow and following our path. And so the whole Space Mountain, if you stayed on track, the path you planned for yourself, you would be in your bliss in no time whatsoever. But you human, you want to get in your head and make decisions and say, but I want this, I want that, I want this. All the things we think we want that just delays our happiness. Do you think that you would have set yourself up for a really crappy life intentionally? Think about it. You are coming here to learn lessons and you're coming here to get through these lessons. You're coming to get through them. And when you get through the lessons, as every lesson I have, when you get through it, you find out the golden nugget. What that golden nugget was, you came that treasure to collect, to take as your earth lesson into your next whatever, your next part of this story. but you graduate from a story, you learn the lesson, and you celebrate it, and you move on. You don't have to go through that story again. But we choose these stories. But you get into the story, and like what was so fun, what's prompted this video is these people that I was friends with many years ago when I was a mom dropping off my kids. They're like, who you are? You're a freaking prophet? No, I don't use my phone. And I shut up and I went inside. I started listening to something so much bigger than me, because the bigger part of us is the place we're looking for. It's the only thing that really knows. It keeps guiding us to where we need to go, following our arrow. The other vision that I had was like when we're born, because I've been using that line, I follow my arrow. It's like wherever it goes, like, ooh, okay, we're going that way. I follow my arrow because it doesn't have to go straight. I just saw this vision of every single one of us, like in our little diapers, as Cupid, like we fire our arrows when we're born. We go, twing, and we shoot that thing. And we know our journey. And then the next vision that showed up was like a driving range with golf balls from that far out to right by your feet, the ones you couldn't hit. That when we shoot our arrow, we know where it's going. If we're going to go to 120 years old, that's our plan. We shoot our arrow at 120. If we're going to live for a week, we drop our ball right here. We shoot our arrow. We're coming to this planet. We've got a plan. And our arrows drop. Just imagine all these arrows dropping like all over, because we're not all going to live to 120. We're going to live scattered. And we have a plan on when we're going to croak and when we're going to check out of this place. We have a plan. So all these visions come to me to help you maybe visualize what I'm seeing. I get these visions trying to help make sense of it, because it's how I see things through the visions that I now get, because I am open. I have surrendered. My mind is a sponge. I have no kinked hoses to stop me from receiving what is coming through me. So for anyone who has known me long before, the person you knew in Puyallup, she doesn't exist anymore. That woman does not have, I don't have friends. I have very few acquaintances that I have made, because I was brought here to be silent. I don't have the interaction with humans as you people do. I don't have friends. I don't talk to people. I go out to dinner alone to my Mexican restaurant by myself. Only. I'm not meant to just hang out and be a social butterfly like I used to be. I'm here now because I am a messenger. I am somebody who shut up, stopped watching television. I don't watch the news. What's going on in the world right now? I know nothing of it. And somebody said something the other day on Facebook, which is the only place I tinker. I post things there and I just do a little interaction. And she said, I think you people with your heads buried in the sand, you are the problem. And I said back to her, just imagine every single human has this thing, and we do this with it. So every single person knows everything going on in the world that they want to know. I mean, if you're into sports only, you know every sport thing going on. If you want to know political news, presidential news, you know what's going on, and you know what pisses you off, and you know what affects you. You know what gets you. So do I, or I did. So this thing, I don't use it for those things. So I don't know. So I'm at such peace because I just am within. People who are like me, we're called light workers because we don't get involved in all that. Because if all of us, if the entire collective population all dove into all the darkness going on, who would be left to shine the light? If we all just decided we're all going to pay attention to focus our human attention on what is going on in the current right now. It was cool. The other day I went to see 4 monks that are at a church here locally because I desperately needed to be next to their vibration. And I walked in there, I sat silently, people were spaced out, chit-chatting, and it was just like I closed my eyes and I absorbed the energy of these monks. And then they chanted. I almost cried because I'm not around people like me. It's hard. It's impossible to find people like me. When you're silent, you raise your vibration. You're just at this energetic space where you are connected. And so we're not supposed to be connected to all the darkness of humans in the conversation. I don't want to know about your countertops and what kind of landscaping service you use, because my yard doesn't matter. Neither do my countertops. None of this stuff matters. I am here just as a channel to receive information. And most of the time I get very direct information from something to someone. And I send that information to that one person. And when they get it, they are like, oh my God, how did you know I needed that? I don't. I'm a messenger. I literally translate what comes through me and I'm done. I don't even want to hear back. I don't need to know how it affected you. I just say what I get. And I know it makes a difference. But people, the people that I knew, the people now, people look at you like they want to be haters. It's like, how can you know? It's like they just want to jump down your throat. How can you say that? And like going, I'm just a messenger. You could do what you want with the information because frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Your hatred and your anger, it's a trigger of something dark in you. It's why people judge others. When you look at somebody like the people who are judging me, like, oh, what does she think she is? There's something in you. It's something in you that is coming out when you judge anybody. It's like, God, I wish I had those legs. You bitch, those legs. Like you're judging somebody because you wish you had them. You want to be more like that person. You need to look at judgment, at how you feel about somebody else, your reactions. Where's this stemming from? Who's it coming from? And why is it oozing out of you at somebody when that person is just a spark of light going by? You're the one that triggered. And if you paid attention to those triggers, and if you dealt with those, if you went in silence and literally just like, why am I affected by this? Where in my body does this affect me? It's like, does it trigger something from your childhood, from something, a sexual thing, a heart thing, a throat thing? Where is it affecting you? This is the stuff where you can turn your life around. The stuff that you react to, figure out why. Because I am not the problem. I'm a woman here in Newport looking at the ocean by myself all the time. I am alone 24/7. I can't harm a fly. Matter of fact, I save spiders. I save every insect. I don't hurt anything. I'm here to deliver messages. You can be mad at me all you want, but it doesn't take away the problem. You got the problem. I just suggest you figure out what it is. One thing I did want to cover, and I know I'm all over. I just want to get as much out as I can because these are so important. I'm just saying what comes to me, and people can comment and scream and cuss. I don't care. I don't care because I don't. When I started living from guidance, when you start doing this, you start realizing that all the time you spent in your head, like thinking of stuff you needed to do, and I need to check this, and I need to buy one of those, and I want all the stuff you thought you needed. When you stop doing that and you just go from guidance, because when you go from guidance, you no longer have the middleman. You don't deal with the human you came here to be. By going through all the stuff that I went through, by checking all the boxes, going through all of my story, I was able to say, I survived this life. I rang the bell. I won. All the things that I set up to get through, I got through. And so I got to be done. And that's when I shut the brain down. And I now defer to my higher self, the one who knows the path, knows the arrow directly. I don't have to go through me getting guidance now to tell me where to go. I just now go because now I know where to go because we stop the middleman. Carrie, the woman, the mom, the wife, the Puyallup thing, she doesn't exist anymore. It's the body, the soul, this person here. We go directly to the higher source, to where we need to go to do what we need to do. So we don't socialize, we don't hang out, we don't have parties, we don't have friends, we don't do stuff like that. And then I realized I can't make myself try and do something, because when you don't do anything and you realize you're in surrender and you just allow you to flow with the current, just like, I can't even describe it, Nemo tunnel. You go into the current and you just flow the way you're supposed to. You like throw in your paddles, you're just going downstream. You know, you don't ever want to try and control things again, because you know we have zero control over any of this. Any of this. We set plans in motion. We shot our arrows. They landed. We're going to where our arrow is, but we shoot our arrow. We have the plan. We're getting to that gold nugget somehow, some way. We hope we get there happy, but we might get there mad. We might be there sad. We're going to get there. So just know that you shot your arrow. You're going to it. How you get to it is up to you. You could just say, I surrender. Let's go. And then this is where I can't understand. Because when you surrender and you go, you set yourself up for really, really, really good stuff. So much better than where you are. And I can't even wrap my brain around how you can't, if you even just took one step, just throw one piece of caution to the wind, push out that comfort zone once and see where it takes you. This is where I say, jump off the cliff. Trust your parachute is going to freaking open because it's going to, and you're going to land somewhere so delicious you could not believe it's there. You set it up for yourself. You planned it. But you, the chicken who wants to remain inhuman and stay stuck on the small stuff because you think that's as gold as it gets, that's where you're screwing up. You got to just follow your arrow, those little icky gut feelings you get along the way that say, oh, this doesn't feel right. Do I want to stay with this guy? But he loves me. But my arrow says go that way. That's where you have choices. This is what I say in these videos. You have choices. You stay stuck with the guy, stay Cancer, follow your arrow, no Cancer. It's that simple. It's that simple. When I was in 5th grade, my dad was going to Blue Diamond, 13-mile drive. I loved going to Blue Diamond. I went every single time because Tinkerbell lived there. She was my best friend. This day he said, let's go. And I said, no. I'm like, what? He said, what? I'm like, I don't want to go. I was in 5th grade. I could go see Tinker and spend the day with Tinker. I didn't want to go. It was a gut nudge that said, don't go. I didn't go. On his way home from Blue Diamond, he wrapped his car around a telephone pole and the passenger side was completely crushed. That would have been the last day of my life. It was a checkout point. I could have gone. I was in 5th grade though, and my life was tragic, but not that tragic. I didn't go. I didn't want to go. I knew I wasn't supposed to go yet because I'm here. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. Listen to your nudges. Your arrow is planted somewhere in your future. Your day might be tomorrow. Your day might be 50 years from now. You shot your arrow, you're going to it. Space Mountain, stay on the track. It feels good. You're in alignment. Everything feels good. Okay, you've had to say goodbye to people. You've had to say goodbye to a job. You've had to change your life. You've had to do things you didn't want to do. But that's part of life. Stay on the track on Space Mountain. Trust yourself that you set yourself up for something good. Follow your arrow. Your arrow will take you where you're supposed to be. You won't get sick because you will feel icky, and you'll know if you feel icky, you're going to sicky. Follow your arrow. Get to where you need to go. So that's where I am. I got quiet starting in 2016. I started meditating. I started shutting up. I stopped talking to people. I don't get on the phone. I have no notifications on my phone, which is kind of weird because if you call me, I won't know. I see voicemail only by looking to see if there's voicemails. I don't have notifications of text messages. I don't have any notifications whatsoever because I don't want to be pulled to that thing that I have to do anything with that thing because that is merely a device that I use for my utility as needed. It is not running my life. I don't need any information from it at all. So shoot the messenger if that's what makes you feel good. And there's many of us out there. There's so many of us out there. And the reason there's so many is I may say something that'll piss you off, which will like ignites a trigger, which is good. And I may be completely vanilla to you. So just moving on. The people who need to find us will find us. You'll find the people you need to find. The thing that's going to be that Abraham books for me, that aha moment, that holy cow, when you find it and you start realizing that none of this is real. And everybody's known that. Shakespeare, all the world's a stage. Shakespeare knew. Steve Jobs, when he died and he went to the other side, the first words like, oh my God, wow. It's like people. This isn't home. This is us coming here to play in the clay. We're in the sandbox. We're here to learn lessons. And then we transition back to non-physical. And then we plan what we want to learn next. You could do rinse, repeat, do a lot of the same lessons over and over and over again. Or you could trust, not me, trust you, that you have a lot better things planned ahead for you. Like that really special thing that you really know you want deep down that you can't tell anybody because they'll laugh at you. Tough shit. It's not about them. They shot their own arrow, but they're not worried about their arrow. They're all worried about yours. Worry about where your arrow landed and how you need to get there.